Welcome. Scott here. Here is a quick boss guide for the upcoming Intersecting Wills, Unfading Days for Vaan from Final Fantasy XII. The event marks the debut of Vaan's FR and he will be getting a rework. The event synergy units are Minwu, Vaan, Dark Knight Cecil, and Ich. All event characters will be getting their force enhancements. We will be fighting the Ultima, the High Seraph, which has 180 million HP. There are no major resistances. The turn requirement is 85. The HP requirements is 8000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Like most other Shinryu fights, the boss gains increased brave damage and gain resistances at start of the fight and 49% HP threshold. Bringing a support like Lunafreya, Charlotta, Aerith, Ramza, Selpha that grants damage boosting aura will make your fight easier. As the boss gains substantial boost to their defenses with the auras, it is important to inflict debuffs that lower their defenses. For this month, 5 of the events will feature a form of elemental lockout. For this fight, the boss will gain resistances to all weapon type damage when its force gauge is at and above 30%. You need to overcome this with elemental imperil weakness damage. You can still bypass this with Brave Cap damage or Rainbow, Brave gains mechanics like Kate Sith or Charlotta, or Brave retention mechanics like Snow BT. On the screen, I have listed down the examples of the key utility that you can consider for this fight. To ensure that you are constantly dealing elemental weakness damage, it is important to bring an elemental enchanter or bring elemental based attackers like Vaan, Papalymo, Vivi etc. Examples of elemental enchanters that you can consider is Minwu, Lunafreya and Garnet. Non-BT party enchanters like Rydia, Ashe are also good options to consider. Upon activating its force ability, the boss will trigger Holaja++ if it inflicts break or attacks a broken ally target. Holaja++ is buff wipe game ending attack. So, you won't want to trigger it at all costs. I will discuss more on this when I going the boss force gauge mechanics. Units that provide break immunity are Ursula, Yang, and Core. Shields will also help to prevent breaks, so Warrior of Light and 9 can be considered here as well. Vaan and Locke offers mechanics that help you to avoid breaks with their BT auras. If you are about to trigger the boss FR ability, it is highly advisable to take a defensive stance to avoid any breaks. The boss has a ton of HP and it is a single target boss. Heavy damage nuker units like Vaan, Tifa, Arthan, Rinoa and Machina are great options here. Due to the troublesome mechanics that the fight has, most player did boss no turns run. Launch, delay, turn deletion and follow-up holds the key ingredient for success. You can consider bringing Dark Knight Cecil, Cloud of Darkness, General Leo, and Selpha. The boss can inflict frame debuffs when its HP is lower to certain threshold. You can prevent it with debuff evasion units like Aerith, Lena, or Afma. You can also negate it with debuff negation call like Raijin or Reno. As the debuffs aren't guaranteed hit, you can also evade it with Rydia LDCA or with Edge's party evasion gimmick. As we are no longer have Lufania Plus fights, the boss guide will be focused primarily on Shinryu fights. In Shinryu, you need to understand the effects gained by the boss as the force gauge build up, its force ability and its force time effect. If your party has low force levels, it is highly certain that the boss force gauge will build up faster than yours. To have a better understanding on the basics of the force gauge mechanics and Shinryu fights, I have done a video explaining the mechanics. I have included the link to the video under the comments and video description for your quick reference. At the start of the fight, the boss will apply abnormal field where it will disable your summon for the entire fight. You will enjoy the benefits of the summon blessing though. Throughout the fight, the boss will gain boost to its force gauge filling. It will fill by 0.1% when your party member act. You can remove that as long as your character is dealing elemental weakness damage. The boss force gauge is broken into 4 thresholds. When the boss gauge is more or equal to 30%, the boss will gain resistance to all weapon type damage. You can overcome this only with elemental imperil. Unless you have mechanics to bypass it, bring elemental units or party elemental enchanters is the easiest route to go. When the boss gauge is more or equal to 40%, the boss will apply abnormal field where it will lower your party's max brave and initial brave by 50%. When the boss gauge is more or equal to 60%, the boss will apply abnormal field where it will lower your party's attack and defense by 50% and reduce your party brave damage down by 100%. When the boss gauge is more or equal to 80%, the boss will apply abnormal field where it will lower your party's speed and turn rate by 50%. The boss force gauge will build up faster as its HP is lowered. You can refer to the table on the screen for the percentages. At the 100% threshold, the boss will use its force ability, Ishatone Plus, and activates its force time for 5 turns. The boss force ability, Ishatone Plus, will result the boss recovers from break and deal a magic AoE Brave plus HP attack. It will trigger Holaja plus, a party buff instant KO attack if the force ability breaks a party member or attacking a broken target. So, you need avoid breaks at all costs. Break immunity or Brave floor support are great to handle this. Upon using the force ability, the boss will enter into its force time where the gauge will start to emit a red hue with a counter of 5 on its gauge. When the force time is activated, the bosses will gain an enhancement that results your party have their brave sap by 100% of their current brave. During this period, the boss will be using Holaja Plus, which is an AoE magic brave attack. If it lands any breaks or attacking a broken target, it will follow up with Holaja Plus, which will instantly KO your party. To cancel the enemy's force time effects, you need to use a force ability that deals a single target magic brave attack, which is only Vaughn's FR at the moment. Now let's go through the fight key mechanics. The fight features a lot of threshold triggers. At the start of the fight, the boss will activate the abnormal field where your summon will be disabled. The blessing will retain its effect. Ifrit is probably the best summon option for this fight. The boss will activate inflicts debuffs at the following HP thresholds: 89%, 79%, 49%, and 29%. At the 89% and 29% HP thresholds, it will trigger a frame debuff Paralyze for 1 turn. At the 79% and 49% HP thresholds, it will trigger 3 frame debuffs, Attack -100%, Max Brave, 100%, and Poison for 5 turns. To handle the debuffs trigger, you can consider one of the following 3 options. Use debuff evasion unit like Aerith, Lena, Afma, or Ignis. Use a debuff negation call like Raijin or Reno. Evade the attack with evasion or blind the boss. Redia LDCA is a good option if you don't have the 2 debuff negation calls available. At the 79%, 39%, and 19% HP threshold, the boss will enter into a preparing to recover stance where it will emit a green aura. It will use Renew on its second action after the activation of the auras. Renew will restores the boss HP back to full, which will most end your run. To dispel the green aura, you need to deal elemental weakness damage 10 times. Upon fulfilling the condition, you will see the message Renew failed and the green aura will be dissipated. To make your task easier in constantly hitting elemental weakness damage, it is best to have 10 turns before the boss could act. You can do this with delay and turn deletions or using turn spammers.
せい、勝たせてもらう。逃げろ。 守るためだ。せいや。
We have come to the last part of the guide. Recommended FR units for this fight are Vaughn, Tifa, Camlanot, Reno, and Cloud of Darkness. Only Vaughn's FR will freeze the force time. To speed up your force gauge filling, you can bring force charges like Pernello, Selpha, Aerith, Charlotta, and Lunafreya. As the boss will gain resistances to all weapon types, it is advisable to bring elemental units or party element enchanter like Minwu, Lunafreya, or Garnet. When the boss activates its force ability or during its force time, it is important not to get broken. Break immunity or brave floor is important here. Otherwise, your party will get wiped by its Holaja ++ attack. Core, Ursula, and Yang are great options. You can also consider Locke or Vaughn if you have them. The boss will trigger debuffs at the 89%, 79%, 49%, and 29% HP thresholds. You can avoid them with debuff evasion supports like Lena, Aerith, Ignis, and Aphmau. The boss has a massive pool of HP and you will want to keep their turns minimal with turn delay, as you need to deal weakness damage 10 times whenever the boss activates its green aura. Delays, turn deletion and launches are important utility to consider for this fight. Dark Knight Cecil, Cloud of Darkness and Selphie are good option for this. Minwu also offer turn deletion utility. Follow-up attackers like Freya, Cisnei, and Kain works well here as well. Before I end the guide, let's cover a bit on the featured FR unit. Vaughn FR is a FR that helped to bring Vaughn's damage output to even higher levels. Firstly, let's cover his FR conditions. 1. You will get 20% HP damage boost as the character's current brave is at least 20% of his or her max brave. Vaughn BT Aura provide Brave Floor Aura. Brave refund mechanics, Brave Floor, or constant battery will ensure you will always meet the conditions. 2. You will get 40% HP damage boost for using a free ability during Vaughn's force time. Vaughn as the FR initiator will get an additional 20% boost, so he will get 60% HP damage bonus for every free ability use. As Vaughn's FR ability will give Eli's 2 free ability use upon activation, you can make use of that initiate Vaughn's burst phase when the force time counter is 7 or 8. If you don't have Vaughn's BT, this FR can abuse with units that can initiate consecutive free turns like Tira and Lightning. With this, I have come to the end of my boss guide presentation. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to my channel for future gaming content. Good luck for the fight in the coming days. Bye.